Hello everyone, I am Anil Bharate, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, BLDS CET, Vijaypur. In this video, I am going to explain the concept of inheritance in Java. Let us understand the basics of inheritance. Here, if you observe, we have class A, here we have defined, and one instance variable is declared, that is int I. Now there is one more class called as B, but there is a slight change in definition. If you observe, class B extends A, means that class B is inheriting class A, or it extends class A. So here class A is called as superclass and B is called as subclass, because B is inheriting or it is extending A. What is the use of inheritance is, if you observe, in B there is a declaration of J, but there is no declaration of variable called as I, but still B will be able to use or access I, which is defined in A. So basically the use of or the advantage of inheritance is to reuse the code. Already if code is existing in some class A, and if we want to use it, then we can have one more class which will be inheriting the existing class, and it will add few more parameters or characters as required. Well, we will take one programming example, then it will be more clear for us. Now here there is a class A, and here we have declared I and j. There is one more method, show ij, which is in class A. So whenever we call show ij method, value of I and j will be displayed on screen. Now here class B extends A, so we are inheriting class A, so B is a subclass whereas A is a superclass. Now in subclass, that is in class B, we have declared one more variable called as K. Remember that in A we have declared I and J, but in B we have declared K. But still B will be able to access I and J because it is a subclass of A. And in B we have declared one more method called as show K. So whenever we call method called as show K, it will display value of K. And last method is sum. It is used to find or add I, J and K, as we can see over here. Well, you remember there are three methods: show ij, then show k, then sum. So when we call show ij, it will display value of I and j. When we call show k, it will display value of k. And when we call sum, it will display sum of I, j and k. Okay. Now let us go to the next class, that is simple inheritance. Name of the class is simple inheritance, and inside that we have declared main function. Now in main function we have created two objects like super ob and sub ob. If you observe, super ob is object of A, which is superclass, and sub ob is object of B, which is subclass. So super ob is object of superclass, sub ob is object of subclass in this example. Well, now here we are trying to initialize like super ob dot I is equal to 10 and super ob dot j is equal to 20. So value of I is equal to 10 and j is equal to 20 with respect to superclass object, that is super ob. Now we will display that value, like show ij method is called with respect to super ob, means it is with respect to super ob, that is super class object, and value of I and j will be displayed. What will be displayed now? 20 and 10 will be displayed on screen. Now next we are creating sub objects, or we are initializing value of I, j, k by using sub object. Sub ob dot I is equal to 7, sub ob dot j is equal to 8, sub ob dot k is equal to 9. Now these values of I and j are with respect to sub object. Earlier 10 and 20 was with respect to super object, whereas 7 and 8 are with respect to sub object. Now again, if you observe, the show ij function is called one more time, but this time with respect to sub ob, that is subclass object. And show k function is also called, means here value of ij will be displayed, after that value of k is also displayed. This time value of I will be 7, j will be 8 and k will be 9. Now finally, sub dot out dot println, here we are finding sum of I, j and k, and with the help of sub object we are calling sum method. So it will display value of or addition of I plus j plus k, means that 7 plus 8 plus 9 it will display. We'll see output in the next slide. See here output is first time when show ij function was called, it was with respect to super object, so we have got answer as 10 and 20 here. The next time when super show ij was called, it was with respect to sub object, so value of I and j are 7 and 8, whereas value of k is 9, and summation will be 7 plus 8 plus 9, that is 24. Now one more thing I forgot to tell you, that here in this previous slide, class A has I as instance variable. Wait for a while. Okay, it has instance variable. B is subclass of A, so B can access I, but remember that vice versa is not true. That is, class A cannot access J because J is defined in subclass. So remember that subclass can access members of superclass, but vice versa is not true. Okay. Well, here. Now we will try to understand member access and inheritance. Now what members can be accessed and what members cannot be accessed by subclass, let us see. Now here we have taken one example. See, class A, there are two variables declared, instance variables. One is I, another one is j, but the difference is I is declared as public, whereas j is declared as private. I have made it in red color. So what do you mean by private and public? Now if you do not add anything while declaration or during declaration, then by default it will be public. When you add keyword called as private before that declaration, then that variable will be considered as private. It means that no other class can access that private member, even subclass. Now if I have subclass called as B extends A, then I cannot access J value in that B. So here we have, see here set ij is a method. Now class B extends A, then here we are trying to access J over here. J is a member function of A, and in fact it is private member, so there will be an error because it is private member of A. So remember that private members of a class cannot be accessed by any other code outside that class, even by subclass of that class. So that is the tip. And this program will not compile. You remember that. Well, let us take one more example, or a more practical example. Now here, remember, we have explained this box example in my previous video as well. Now if you remember, there is a class called as box and three methods are defined, three instance variables like width, height and depth. Now there is a concept of constructor. I have explained in last video as well. Constructor is nothing but method which has same name as that of class name. So if you observe here, class name is box and here method name is also box. So this is a constructor. But if you observe, there are few more constructors. See here also box, even this is a constructor. Box, even this is a constructor. Box, even this is a constructor. So there are four constructors for the same class box, but there is a slight difference. So in the first constructor, observe the parameter, it is an object, and correspondingly that object width, object height and object depth will be assigned to width, height and depth of a box respectively. In the next method or constructor, there are three parameters w, h, d, and those parameters will be assigned to width, height and depth respectively. Next constructor is default constructor. If you observe, there are no parameters passed, simply method name, that is box, and empty parentheses are there, so no parameters are there, and by default we will take width, height, depth as -1. Now there is one more constructor called as box, but observe the parameter is only one, that is len, and it is used, this constructor is used when we want to have a cube, that is all width, height and depth should be same, then it will be a cube, and length, that is len, will be assigned to all three. So remember that, I'll repeat. In this program there is one class called as box as of now, the box, and there are four constructors box, 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 box. The difference is first constructor passes object as parameter, in the next constructor we pass three parameters, and next constructor there is a default constructor, no parameters are passed, and in the last constructor only one parameter is passed, that is len, and this is in case of cube. So you need to remember these four constructors, because in further examples I'm going to use these four. So apart from these constructors, there is one more method called as volume. It is to calculate volume of the box, width into height into depth. You already know about this. So let us see remaining part of the program in the next slide. Well, here it comes. Now here we have subclass called as box weight. Box is a superclass, whereas box weight is a subclass. Here you can see class box weight extends box. So box is a superclass, whereas box weight is a subclass here. Now here in this case, or in this class, we have declared one more instance variable called as weight. So we want to add weight for that box, so I can extend it, I can write it in my subclass. So that's what we have done here, double weight. Now there is again constructor for this box weight, and here there are four parameters passed, w, h, d and m. W is for width, h is for height, d is for depth, and m will indicate weight, and those four parameters are or values are assigned to width, height, depth, weight respectively. Next we have the main function. Here we have created two objects, my box 1, my box 2. Both are objects of box weight, they are not objects of box, so they are objects of subclass called as box weight. Here you can, but if you observe, there are four parameters passed. While calling that constructor or creating object, we are passing four parameters, 10, 20, 15, 34.3. So this constructor is called, where is that constructor? So control will go to this constructor, and w, value of w will be 10 now, then h will be 20, 15 will be indicated to or assigned to d, and 34.3 will be assigned to m. If you observe, these width is 10, height is 20, 15 is the depth, and 34.3 is the weight. So let us see in remaining part. Now here we have declared one variable called as volume. Then volume method is called with respect to my box 1. My box 1 means 10, 20, 15. So volume will be like 3000 because 10 into 20 into 15 will be 3000, whereas weight of the box will be 34.3 as we had passed here while creating the object. Okay, when next time volume function or volume method is called, it is with respect to second object, that is my box 2. Now for my box 2 we had passed these four parameters 2, 3, 4. So these first three parameters will be width, height, depth, and fourth parameter is for weight. So here it will go and it will allocate immediately after that. So we are trying to display volume of that box and it will be 24 because 2 into 3 into 4 will be 24, and weight of the box will be 0.076. Okay, next let us see what is the actual advantage of inheritance. Say in previous example we have seen that subclass was to add weight. Already there is a box which has three parameters such as width, height, and depth. Now we wanted to add a fourth parameter called as weight. So we had one extra class or subclass which extends this box class called as box weight. So box weight was the subclass which added weight of the box. Now there may be different requirements, like we may want to add color of the box. So even in that case we can extend that box by writing, like in this case let us go to this example. See here, color box extends box. So that box class remains the same, that those three parameters like width, height, and depth can be used by many subclasses because it is already available. Now only thing is to we need to extend. So here we have extended color in this class. So likewise we can have many subclasses according to our requirement. Well, now let us see the super keyword. How to use super keyword? Now there are two uses of this super. So let us see the first one. The first use of super key is it is used to call constructor of a superclass. See, I have taken one simple example. So let me draw first one line. So this I have written, let us say this is randomly written, there is no sequence, just randomly written, and whereas this is the example for super. So let us try to understand what is the problem, why we want to go for super keyword. See, this was the class constructor for box. So here we have width is equal to w, height is equal to h, depth is equal to d. In the previous example, if you go back, you will find this. Now somewhere in that code we had box weight class which extends box. So double weight, we added weight in that class. And again the constructor of that box weight was written, which accepts four parameters, and those parameters are assigned here. So if you observe, width is equal to w, height is equal to h, depth is equal to d in the box constructor, it is repeated in box weight constructor as well. Here width is equal to w, height is equal to h, d is. So here we are repeating the code, existing code is repeating. So to avoid this we go for super key. Like let us go to the right side, right hand side of this slide. Now here box weight extends box, we have taken double weight, that is weight as the one extra parameter. Now here we have box weight constructor which takes four parameters similar to this. This is same. Well, if you observe, let me first clear it, then it will be more understandable for you. Well, see, instead of these three lines, what we have done is simply we have written super inside a bracket w h d, because this super class constructor, that is box constructor, receives three parameters, and those three parameters are for width, height and depth. So instead of writing again the same code, width is equal to WHD, we simply write super inside bracket WHD. So now this will call superclass constructor. Which is the superclass? Box is the superclass. So its constructor will be called by using keyword called as super, and similarly weight will be m. Weight is equal to m as it is. See here. And one more thing to remember about super is, so this super should be called immediately after the function definition, or immediate it should be the first statement in the function definition, or sorry, in the constructor. Say box weight is the constructor, under it is the first. This is the one thing to remember. Another thing to remember is subclass can call, or super, when you use super keyword in subclass, it can call constructor of a immediate superclass. Okay, not super class. Like there are three classes A, B, C. If you use super key in C, then it will call constructor of B, not A. I hope you understood it. Okay, let us go to the next slide. Now here we have taken example for understanding super key. Well, please wait for a while. Now here we have taken, see, class box, there are three parameters: width, height and depth. Then we have four constructors. This is already explained in previous slides, you just look at those. These are the four constructors. One is with respect to object, another four parameters, default constructor, then we have volume. So this is same as that of previous, you remember that. So next rest of the part, or remaining part of the program, will be slightly changed. Now here even this is same, box extends box double weight. So we have already done with this. So here super, but let us see here, box weight, inside the box bracket there is an object and it is passed. So super inside bracket there is OB. So constructor of superclass will be called, and parameter will be passed as object, that is object will be passed as the parameter. So in this case, see here, super comma, sorry, super of WHD. So these first three values will be called, or it will, those three values will be passed while calling the superclass constructor. Now here in this case, default. So in case of default, you simply write super and empty parenthesis in front of that. So it is understood that it is default constructor. So default constructor, it means width, height and depth will be -1, and this is for cube. So here simply you can say that super of len, then it will be calling super key or superclass constructor. Now here in this case we have main class or main function, where we have created like box 1, it is object for box weight, and here we are passing parameter as 10, 20, 15 and 34.3. And similar to the previous example that we have seen in case of inheritance, it will display output according to the parameters that we are going to pass and object. See, so let us go to see the output of this program. So this program output will be volume of my box 1 3000, weight of my box 1 is 34.3. So with respect to, when we call those functions or methods with respect to second object here, then it will be 24 and 0.76. So by default, when we call that super constructor with respect to default case, then it will be -1, volume will be -1 as well as weight will be -1, and remaining values will be displayed on screen. Well, let us try to understand what is the next use of super keyword. Now here sometimes what happens is, in superclass there is variable called as I. So in subclass, that is B extends A, in subclass there is I. So if this happens, whenever this I is accessed in A, it will be, sorry, in B, it will be always taking I of B. It will not go for I of A. So I of A will be always hidden. So I of B will hide I of A. So to overcome this, we have super keyword. So let us try to understand. See here. So there is a function called as, sorry, there is a constructor B and it is taking two parameters A and B. Now here if you observe, super dot I is equal to A. If I simply write I is equal to A, then it will be with respect to class B. But I want to change value of I which is present in A. So in that case, what I'll do, I'll write super dot I is equal to A. So it will be changing this I, not for B. So in this case, so I is equal to B. If you simply write I is equal to B, then it is with respect to B. So here you can see this I is in B, whereas the first one I is in A, because it was with respect to super dot I is equal to A. Then there is a show function which will show value of I. Now in the main function, let us see, there is a sub object, that is object we have created for class B, and we have passed up two parameters 1 and 2. So first parameter is this A, second parameter is B. Now A is assigned to which? I of A. So I which is present in A will be 1 and I which is present in B, it will be 2. So similarly or accordingly the output will be displayed on screen. You see here, I in super class is 1, I in subclass is 2. So this is the second use of super. So remember, there are two uses of super. One is it is used to call superclass constructor. Another one is to call members of the superclass which are hidden. Well, the last concept let us try to understand. It is multi-level inheritance. So let us understand. There are three classes if you observe in this slide. One A, another one is B and C. Now A is a superclass and here B is a subclass because it is writing like B extends A. So B is a superclass of A. But next C extends B. That is, in this case, C is a superclass. Sorry, C is a subclass, and which is its superclass? Its superclass is B. It is like A is a superclass, we inherit, then B is a subclass of A, then we inherit C. C is a subclass of B. So this is called as multi-level inheritance. Let us take an example. So this program is again similar to the previous one. The only change in this program will be that, see, earlier we had extended weight. We had class B, sorry, box weight, and we added extra parameter called as weight of the box. Now I want to add one more parameter called as shipment cost or its delivery cost. So for that we will take, see, so let us, in the previous here, in this example, so if I take, all right, let us assume that this A as box, then B as box weight, then C as, say, shipment. So there are three classes basically in the next program that I am going to explain. So in the previous examples we were restricted to first two classes, that is box and box weight. Now we have one more level of inheritance, that is shipment. Let us go and try to understand. So this is box class and this is box weight. See here, so box weight and its constructors, box weight constructors. Then we go for next. Here we are adding the new thing, that is wait for a while. Okay, we are adding shipping cost. See, class shipment extends box weight, so it is again inheriting the second class box weight. So shipment is a subclass here and box weight is a superclass in this case. And we have its corresponding constructors, those four constructors. One is for object, another one is for 4 parameter default constructor, then one is for that cube. So and accordingly we will call those functions to show the values of weight, height, or we can show volume of that box and weight of that box and shipment cost of that box as well. So output is written in the next class here. The output shows that volume is 3000, shipment cost is 10, sorry, weight of that shipment is 10 and cost will be 3. This is the extra thing that we have added by the help of multiple inheritance. And again for the next time it will be 24, volume will be 24, weight is 0.76, but extra thing in this case is 1.28, that is the cost. So this is multiple inheritance. Thank you.